Hello and welcome inside Alumni Field at the Wilpon Complex here in Ann Arbor, Michigan for this edition of Michigan Softball. My name is Kevin Klein. Alongside with me is Morris Fabry as Michigan is set to host Bowling Green in this midweek matchup. Michigan coming in off of a sweep of Kent State. It'll be Tara Blanco in the circle today. She was really good against Kent State in her one opportunity, coming off a week where she was named Big Ten Pitcher of the Week. If you think of her performance against Kent State in the John Kropp Classic, 10 strikeouts over the weekend, 23 total in her last two outings. What does she need to do today to continue that success?
I think she needs to attack these Falcons hitters. She found some great success with good economy of pitches. She was still able to rack up the strikeouts, but did very little damage to herself, especially in that second outing against Kent State. Very few walks, very few mistakes outside of one pitch she left up in the zone and gave up a long ball. So if she just comes at these hitters, the Michigan defense behind her will be able to do its job.
She will be facing a Falcons lineup that features Chelsea Raker and Aspen Searle, two redshirt juniors that both had very successful Hoosier Classics this past weekend for Bowling Green, and most of their power comes from those two spots, the 3 and 4 spots, as Searle is third in the nation with 12 doubles. Quickly behind her is Raker with 11 doubles. So looking at the Falcons lineup, what is the key for them?
I guess if you're Tara Blanco, you just want to limit the damage around those two hitters in the middle. Great offense will beat great defense and great pitching more often than not. But as long as there are no base runners on, you can adapt your style, pitch around those big bats, and limit any damage that Bowling Green might bring to the table.
We are just about ready for first pitch here. Blanco in the circle. Alex Sorgi leading it off for the Falcons. A slap hitter will take a first pitch ball. First pitch day at 4:02 p.m. 52 degrees, partly cloudy here in Ann Arbor. Beautiful day for some softball. Wind going left to right. Michigan in their white tops, blue pants, and blue visors. As the second pitch misses. Bowling Green opposite, white pants, orange tops, orange helmets.
We don't have a list of umpires today, so we're going to just be going by home plate ump, first base ump, and third base ump for you.
Sorgi looks like called time before that offering from Blanco. The lineup for Bowling Green is Sorgi, then Sammy Paray follows her DPing today. Batting third is Aspen Searle at shortstop. Cleanup is Chelsea Raker at first base. And the rest of the lineup after this pitch, 2-0 from Blanco, is a called strike, and it's 2-1 today. Haley Schrock batting fifth at third base. Lane Simmons follows her catching. Katie Hinkle at second base batting seventh. Hannah Jamarino in center field batting eighth. Batting ninth today, Kendall Wheeler in right field. There's a late swing from Sorgi, and that'll even the count at 2.
Looked like Blanco went with the changeup away there. A good pitch to throw in kind of a neutral count. You really want to keep Sorgi off the base pass. She leads this Bowling Green team in stolen bases and in walks.
The pitcher today for Bowling Green, Brooke Parker. The 2-2 now from Blanco is just a touch low, and that'll run the count full here at the first at-bat of the ball game.
We have received an update. Your home plate umpire is Byron Smith. Down the first base line is Liz Hammerschmidt. And at third base, it is Mark Sefcik, the home plate umpire during, if I'm not mistaken, Megan Betts' no-hitter on Saturday.
The payoff. Tapped foul. What a weekend for Megan Betts. We thought it might have been her because Michigan has a back-to-back midweek matchups today against Bowling Green, tomorrow against Eastern Michigan. Didn't know if it was going to be Betsa today or Betsa tomorrow. Another payoff. Off-speed pitch, and it is again tapped foul. This one looked like it nicked Sorgi.
Yeah, Sorgi seems really devoted to trying to plop a ball down in front of this already drawn far in Michigan infield. We see different degrees of intensity as far as defensive shifts against slap hitters. Coach Carol Hutchins opts for an aggressive one with Montemurano almost halfway down the line at third.
Another payoff. A tap, foul. Speaking of Wolverines defense, in the outfield, Richardson, Christner, and Peters left to right. On the left side of the infield, it's Montemurano at third with Ramirez at shortstop. Faith Canfield at second base. Aiden Falk over at first. I mentioned Blanco in the circle, and Alexander is the battery mate today.
Pretty standard stuff from the Wolverines. They didn't get much action this weekend, I'll tell you that.
Another payoff. That one on the outside corner, and down on strikes is Alex Sorgi. Blanco picks up where she left off in terms of all the strikeouts she has been accumulating over these past few outings.
Blanco's got, I think, both a curveball and a screwball in her arsenal, and her ability to spin it any which way against these hitters really is mystifying when they get into that batter's box.
First pitch is grounded to Canfield, who tosses to Falk, and Sammy Parave is quickly retired on one pitch, and quickly there are 2 outs after a lengthy leadoff at bat from Sorgi. That'll bring up one of the hottest hitters in the Falcon lineup, and that is Aspen Searle.
Yeah, good work from Blanco limiting the potential damage in front of this 3-4 punch of Aspen Searle and Chelsea Raker. Getting these Falcon hitters to roll over on some off-speed pitches.
A ground ball will be yanked foul. Searle, a right-handed hitter, 371 on the year, has started every game. As I mentioned, leads the team in doubles with 12. That's good for third in the nation. 3 home runs, 22 RBIs to go along with that extra base power. Looking to get one in the gaps here, the 0-1. There's a strike right below the belt.
Blanco doesn't go with the rise ball all that often, but when she does, we saw at least when there was a radar gun out in Florida, she could touch the upper regions of the 60s into the 68, 69 realm. Serious gas.
The 0-2. That one driven left center field. Christner and Richardson converging. It'll be Richardson on the run to make the grab, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Tara Blanco, and we are through one half here. Still no score. This is WCBN Sports' presentation of Michigan softball. Morris Fabry joins me. I'm Kevin Klein, as Michigan looking for their first at-bats. Their lineup looks something like this. Leading off is Natalie Peters, Faith Canfield batting second, playing second. Kelly Christner in the 3 spot again in center field. Cleanup is Aiden Falk at first base. Tara Blanco is in the middle of the order pitching today. Abby Ramirez, the other slap hitter in the lineup, batting 6th at shortstop. Lindsey Montemurano at the hot corner, batting 7th. Amanda Vargas is the DP today, batting 8th. And rounding out the order is Katie Alexander catching. A pretty talented lineup. We saw Aiden Falk have a really successful weekend. Lindsey Montemurano had some good cuts and a couple good drives, and Tara Blanco had some pretty good swings on the ball as well.
I'll tell you, Kev, this is my favorite lineup formation that Michigan has rolled out so far this year. I like the diversity of looks. Instead of leading off with a trio of lefties against the lefty Brooke Parker, you split it up with Canfield, one of the hotter hitters in the lineup there. You put Abby Ramirez as not just a second leadoff hitter, but you break up that slap sister duo, so you've got a chance for Ramirez and Peters both to get on base and then be driven in by some power bats behind each of them in the lineup.
Defensively for the Falcons, it's Sorgi in left, Jamarino in center, Wheeler in right, Schrock, Searle, Hinkle, and Parker around the infield, and Lane Simmons is putting down the fingers today for Brooke Parker. 3-7 on the year, 3.47 ERA. This is her 11th start. In 68.2 innings, she has given up just 34 earned runs. First pitch to Natalie Peters is a called strike.
And I mentioned the difference in defensive philosophies, but with Abby Ramirez, she's demonstrated an ability to drive the ball into the gaps, even from that slap approach. This is Natalie Peters, however, and her power has developed too.
That one into left field. It'll drop for a base hit. Natalie Peters on board. A leadoff single for the Wolverines right fielder.
Both slappers both wear a 1 on the back of their jerseys. I was mistaken for a sec. But yeah, Peters has already a few extra base hits to her name so far this season, and as a result, the outfield can't play her quite as far in. She's able to dunk that one into left center and get on base to start the inning.
Yeah, you saw Sorgi come in on that ball originally. It looked like maybe she was going to try the diving effort, but probably wisely held back on it. First pitch to Faith Canfield, a called strike. Canfield in Saturday's game against Kent State, Wolverines only had 2 hits, both of them courtesy of their second baseman, but not a lot of offensive help needed as Megan Petza tossed a no-hitter, snap throw down to first, and Peters back in time. Brooke Parker, a sophomore from Batavia, Ohio. A left-handed pitcher. Delivers a 1-1, and Canfield is way early on it. Pulls it into the netting down the left field line.
I like the swing there, though. It was low and in on her hands, but it was short, compact to the ball. She got her hands through the zone and barreled it up. You know, it was so far inside, the only way she was going to barrel it up is going to be to foul it off near the Bowling Green dugout, but still, that's the type of contact you like to see.
Canfield fights one off here, pops it up to the third baseman, Schrock, who comes just north of the circle to make the grab, calls off her pitcher Parker, and there's one away for Kelly Christner.
That's not the contact you like to see. An off-speed pitch down at her shoe tops. You got to protect the zone, extend that strike zone with 2 strikes, and Canfield went golfing, brought out the pitching wedge instead of the 2-iron she desired.
Parker's first pitch to Christner, off speed, and catches the corners. There's strike 1. Parker very good at getting ahead of hitters with that first pitch strike.
Peters down at first base, 4 for 4 in stolen base attempts on the year. The Wolverines as a team have been remarkably successful on the base paths.
The 0-1 is tap foul. Here comes Schrock across the diamond, can't get it out of her glove, and it's an infield single for Kelly Christner, who legs out a trickler to Schrock over at third base. Had a little bit of trouble getting it out of her glove.
That was a tricky little trickler. It started in foul ground, but it was a sort of cue shot off the end of the bat. It spun its way back fair, and credit Christner for hustling from the moment she made contact.
Interesting spin on it. Initially, I thought it might have been off of Christner's foot. That's how funky that spin was. But that'll put a runner in scoring position for Aiden Falk. There's a first pitch ball. Falk has been on fire as of late. 329 on the year, 2 home runs, 22 RBIs. That RBI number actually leads the team. She has surpassed Kelly Christner. Falk swinging a very hot stick. The 1-0 is popped up left side into foul territory. The catch will be made by Searle. And there are now 2 outs.
And now Tara Blanco at the plate. She's been a big story for this team, both for her prowess with her arm and for her step back in the offensive department. I thought she looked better this last weekend than she has at any other point this season. She's seeing the ball well. We'll see if she can put it into good use here.
Blanco grounds one to the shortstop, Searle, and it's booted. Everyone moves up 60. Bases loaded now as the Wolverines catch a break. That was hard hit on the ground. Searle lifted the glove up just a little early. And the bases are juiced for Abby Ramirez.
Well, that wasn't the contact she wanted. The normally patient Blanco chased one low out of the zone and gets bailed out by the error from Searle.
Bases loaded. Abby Ramirez at the plate will take that one off the left ankle, and the Wolverines strike first.
Yeah, Brooke Parker, you know, it kind of eats at you as a pitcher when you work your way out of a jam, out of an inning, only for your defense to let you down. You got to have the fortitude to fight back, and in this case for Parker, a bit unfortunate. Pitch just got away with her, and Ramirez, as she was already running up, didn't really have the dexterity to get out of the way. I'm sure she would have willingly worn that pitch anyway.
Yeah, Ramirez looking a little gimpy, but the Wolverines will take a 1-0 lead. That'll give Montemurano an opportunity now with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Montemurano on the year, 275. That average has skyrocketed. Just a week and a half ago, it was in the low 200s, but putting together some good at-bats, some good games. The 0-1 from Parker. Montemurano will take low, 1-1.
It looks like Parker really has a wide spectrum of speeds that she can bring to home plate. Nothing with really a ton of velocity that should be able to blow past these Michigan hitters, but even when she takes something off, she can either take off a ton, running it into the 50s, or just slightly off speed.
Montemurano puts one into left field. That's a base hit. Blanco will be held up at third base, but Kelly Christner will score, and it's 2-0 Wolverines.
Good piece of hitting from Lindsay Montemurano. Squared one up, didn't try to do too much with it, just yanked a hard line drive through the hole on the left side. Station to station stuff.
Montemurano with her 12th RBI of the year. That was Ramirez's 5th RBI of the year. And Amanda Vargas, the designated player today, will have yet another Wolverines opportunity with the bases loaded. Blanco on third, Ramirez on second with Montemurano at first. Vargas on the year, 296, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. This is her 10th start of the year. That one sinks low. It's 1-1.
Yeah, it's interesting that Taylor Swearingen more often than not has been the go-to when Hutch has needed a pinch hitter or someone to plug into the DP slot, when Vargas has been putting up good stats.
Vargas will take a strike there. It's 1-2, and Vargas, a junior now, from Rancho Santa Margarita, California. That is quite the mouthful. 1-2, just inside one eye there from Amanda Vargas. Deuce is wild now. 2-2 count, 2 outs.
Looked like a hard rise ball trying to get Vargas to chase out of the zone, but either a good eye or a lucky break.
She will have more life here. 2-2 is a pop-up into left field. That'll get down. Ramirez coming around to score. In addition to Blanco, it's 4-0 Michigan, and that air is haunting the Bowling Green Falcons.
Oh yeah, 4 runs, all unearned for Brooke Parker, and to add insult to injury, the 2 Wolverines hits in sequence have both gone past the outstretched glove of Searle in that shortstop third base hole. Good job there from Amanda Vargas, showing real strength, muscling a pitch in on the hands, off the inside of the bat, and just getting enough on it to get into left field and get in 2 runs.
Everything, like you mentioned, Morris, has been through that 5-6 hole. Not necessarily hard contact, but enough oomph on the balls to get it into the outfield. The number 9 hitter, Katie Alexander, will take a called strike. She's the 9th hitter to hit in the frame. Runners on first and second now, 2 outs. 4-0 Michigan, bottom of the first inning. The 0-1, that one into center field, but it will be caught easily from Jammarino. Jammarino initially took a step in, but able to recover in time. The Wolverines are retired, but not before they strike 4 times. An RBI hit by pitch from Ramirez, an RBI single from Montemurano, then the 2 RBI base knock for Amanda Vargas, as all 4 runs, like you mentioned, was unearned. But it's a good sign for Michigan. They're taking advantage of their opportunities, and they don't need that big hit, that home run, to put across runs. They're connecting some good at-bats together.
Yeah, I think the power is going to come, and sooner rather than later for these Wolverines. They like to play in their home diamond. They hadn't got a chance to before that Kent State series, and I think that will see sort of a return to form. But also at the same time, this is a team that not only hasn't been getting offensive production, they haven't been getting the breaks on the offensive end. Now you got little bloopers that are finding holes instead of finding gloves. The line drives are getting through rather than, again, finding gloves. And you've seen an uptick in the stats, an uptick in production, and it also will bring a peace of mind to the hurlers out there in the circle. Absolutely,
as the second inning just about underway here. It'll be Raker, Schrock, and Simmons for the Falcons.
Yeah, Raker with an apt surname for a really good hitter. She's hitting .398 on the season, 5 home runs, 27 RBI, and thanks to Blanco's strong work last inning, she's hitting with no one on base.
Absolutely. It would have been quite ironic if Raker was a slap hitter of that sort, but she is definitely a power hitter, leads the team in home runs, RBIs, and one behind the team lead in doubles. Blanco set to get back to work here, and the first pitch right down the middle to Chelsea Raker, the redshirt junior from Westerville, Ohio. Plays a little bit of third base in addition to first base, where she's stationed today. Blanco winds, and that one high cheese, and Raker goes fishing. 0-2 now on the Falcons' first baseman.
Blanco bringing out the cheddar. These two pitches that she's blown by Raker have not been taking their time getting to home plate.
The 0-2 down at the ankles, and that'll be a waste pitch. 1-2 now.
Just got to establish that inside back Raker off the plate ever so slightly. She's got an open stance, but her back foot almost touching that the inner line of the batter's box.
The 1-2 is popped up off the press box over our heads. Count will remain 1-2.
Blanco's got that changeup in her arsenal. She's come with a lot of velocity these first three pitches. We'll see where she goes here. She's got plenty of flexibility.
An off-speed pitch is pulled foul. Good protective defensive swing from Raker.
Looked like a drop ball or a changeup from Tara Blanco. She's kept it down in the zone against this power hitter.
The 1-2 once again. That one, a lazy fly ball into center field. Christner will make the easy grab, and there's one away.
Looked to me at first as though that one might drop in front of Kelly Christner, but the wind blowing slightly out to center had plenty of backspin hung up in the air, and an easy grab for Christner. Expected to be a defensive linchpin of this outfield. An uncharacteristic defensive miscue over the course of the weekend, but still a pretty reliable glove with a very strong arm.
Absolutely. That'll bring up Schrock, and first pitch is tap foul. We actually had the opportunity to watch practice must have been last week, and they were doing outfield drills, and you could tell every time which throw was Christner's because of the line she throws it on. The 0-1 is high and tight. Goes for ball one.
Yeah, it was like they were shot out of a cannon. Sorry to interrupt, but it really was something to see. Everything else was getting buffeted by winds in the 30s and 40s, and Christner's were just slicing through.
1-1 on Schrock, who's hitting .291 with 2 home runs and 11 RBIs. Ground ball, Montemurano fields across the diamond. It's high, but Falk will reach up to secure it. 2 outs.
That is a slick glove there from Montemurano. Didn't have the chance to charge or really back up. Didn't have the time to make the angle easier on herself. Just snagged that one on a short hop and made the easy throw to Falk, who got to utilize the fullest extent of her frame.
And the arm strength to get it across the diamond in time from Montemurano, always something to see. Blanco's first pitch to Lane Simmons, a called strike. Simmons on the year. 235, no home runs, 4 RBIs. The catcher, this is her 20th appearance. Blanco gets the sign, and the 0-1 pitch is just inside on the right-handed hitting Simmons. The junior backstop. So with 2 outs, a 1-1 count on Simmons. Wolverines already with a 4-0 lead, trying to get out of the top of the second inning here. The 1-1 is right to Blanco, and she'll snag it out of the air. A liner right to Tara Blanco. Some nifty glove work there.
Oh, look what I found. It looked like it was hit right back to where her glove happened to be resting after her follow-through. Look down, and she has the 3rd out of the inning right by herself. Good job by Blanco attacking these Bowling Green hitters who have not been allowed to get deep into at-bats. She's consistently pounding the zone with speed, finding the locations on the edges. And that was the hardest contact made off of her all game, but you like that she's willing to maybe give that up in that sort of situation. Nobody on, 2 outs, trusting her defense and trusting her own glove work in this instance.
I'm sure if she's asked in the dugout, if she planned that or not, she'll say, oh, I had it the whole time, but might have been a little lucky there, but sometimes rather be lucky than good. Anyways, that'll end the top of the second inning. Bottom of the second coming up, it'll be the top of the order once again as the Wolverines batted around in the bottom of the first, scoring 4 times on 4 hits, but a costly error for Bowling Green that led to the Wolverines' outbreak.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Kev, I've been in that situation on the mound back when I played baseball, and you do have a better read at how the contact's going to go off the hit of the batters because you know where the pitch is going after you release it. So while it looks kind of supernatural, the reactions that you see from afar, and while it still is absolutely terrifying, sometimes you can say that, yeah, you did react in time and it was sort of a conscious effort rather than complete and total luck.
So if you're listening, Morris just said that was an easy play Blanco made.
That is exactly what I said verbatim.
A tapper here from Peters. It'll stay fair, and Peters legs out a single. Her second of the day.
Man, that one it went about 5 feet from home plate and just sat on that third base line. She couldn't have put that one better if she were trying to bunt it there.
Well, I think what Lane Simmons, the catcher, was trying to do is just let it roll foul, but all of a sudden it hit that chalk line, and like you said, it cemented itself right in the dirt.
The softball gods are in the Wolverines' favor today. First, Kelly Christner's grounder, and then that.
Canfield way early and pulls one foul down the left field line. Canfield 0 for 1 today, popped out to the third baseman last inning. Peters now 2 for 2 on the day, raises that average to 366. Parker still in the circle as Canfield will take a called strike, and not sure if she's happy about that one. Looked a little outside.
Yeah, perhaps. You could tell in the way she turned her head away, just trying to hide the disgust.
Down to the count now, 0-2. Parker's delivery is popped up right side, in play in fair territory as Parker makes the grab, 1 away.
You wonder if it ever crossed her mind to drop that ball and try to get out the slightly quicker Natalie Peters over at second base. You almost never see that sort of gamesmanship, but I would have found it interesting.
My philosophy with that is, you know what, if you have an out that is so easy to make, take the out, because especially when you're playing a top 25 team like Michigan, just get the out. Don't try to get fancy here. Christner, a ground ball to second base, the flip in time. So Christner is retired for the first time today, but Peters moves up to second base. A nifty play from Hinkle there.
Yeah, nifty is exactly the adjective I was going to use to describe it. Ranging far to her left and able to collect her body, compose herself enough to just sort of shovel the ball with the backhand to Chelsea Raker at first base.
Hinkle was shaded in a little bit towards the bag at second, but able to range over in time. Falk now, there's a first pitch strike. Falk 0 for 1 today, popped out to the shortstop Searle in foul territory. Peters aboard at second, 4-0 Michigan, bottom second here. Parker's 0-1 is fouled right back into the padding, and it'll be 0-2 on number 2.
I'll tell you, something I noticed during Falk's last at-bat, the center fielder Hannah Giammarino was shifting often 5 or 6 steps between dead center and left center. Falk plenty of power to the opposite field. There's a pretty big gap in that left center field area if she can get it there.
The 0-2, again fouled, same exact spot as the 0-1 pitch. But you're absolutely right, and Falk, I would classify her as a power hitter, but she has power to all fields, like you said, and that left center area is wide open, especially given where Sorgi is playing in left because she's hugging that line. Falk is a dangerous hitter, especially at this point in the season. The 0-2 off speed, and that'll be a soft line drive to Searle. Makes this grab, and that'll retire the side. A hit, one left on, and no damage for the Wolverines. It's 4-0 through 2 innings. This is WCBN Sports' presentation of Michigan softball. My name is Kevin Klein. Morris Fabry joins me as we are just about ready to start that 3rd inning.
Yeah, and I really can't emphasize enough how much I respect what Tara Blanco's been doing in the circle in this game today. I think she's coming into her own, and certainly that also may coincide with the fact that she's pitching against the likes of a Kent State and a Bowling Green as opposed to a UCLA or Kentucky, but it does seem like she's made strides to eliminate walks from her game, and that's something that plagued both her and Betza over the early part of this season, and it enables her to attack more. She's never going to have the strikeouts of a Megan Betza, at least not this year, but as long as you're not hurting yourself, you're helping everybody else on the team.
And you have to give her credit because she's still making pitches. There's still hitters in the lineup like a Searle, like a Chelsea Raker, like a Maddie Grimm and Holly Spears that we saw with Kent State that are dangerous hitters. The record for Bowling Green's 14-16, but there's still a lot of good hitters in the lineup, and you have to make your pitches and locate them. So credit Tara Blanco for what she's been able to do. I mentioned Bowling Green 14-16 coming into this one. Michigan 17-7-1.
Yeah, Bowling Green is road tested. They're starting off their season with 37 straight road games, so they are no strangers to strange environments. As you mentioned, they haven't had much success. They haven't, really defeated any of the Titans they've gone up against, but at least they are hopefully getting experience that they can learn from.
Blanco back to work, 7-8-9 due up. Here's Katie Hinkle. First pitch low on the second baseman Hinkle, who on the air, a $196 and 3 RBIs. Bowling Green participated in the Hoosier Classic this past weekend. There's another ball inside to Hinkle. 0-4, 2 losses to the hosting Indiana Hoosiers, 2 losses to UIC as well. A couple close games, though. They definitely were competitive. Just a couple bounces going against the Falcons. The 2-0 is cut on and miss. You could tell Blanco took something off of that one. And Hinkle was completely fooled.
Yeah, you could tell her head turned out of the box. She was looking for that fastball and probably realized mid-swing that it wasn't what she was getting.
2-1, hitters count for Hinkle. See if Blanco goes back to the trough. She instead goes with the riser, and it's a called strike. 2-2 now.
Plenty of velocity on that one, and the location's good when they hit her. Turns out of the way of a called strike.
Hinkle, a junior middle infielder from Taylor, Missouri. Here's the 2-2 from Blanco. A pop-up. It will get out of play on top of the home team's dugout, first base side.
Well, that's the first time I've seen that this year. It bounced off of literally the top of the screen, the line that extends from behind home plate out into right field.
So we'll do the 2-2 pitch over again. Blanco winds, and again the off speed, but Hinkle able to tap this one foul in defensive mode here. So top of the third, 4-0 Michigan. Hinkle leading off things for the Falcons. The 2-2, another tap foul, this one in the direction of the on-deck batter, Jamarino.
I think Blanco missed a bit high with that last off-speed pitch, so this one she went back to the well, really buried it in the dirt, and still Hinkle got a piece. I think she's going to go back with the high-speed stuff at this point.
Here's the 2-2 once again. Another tap foul, and Blanco's going back to everywhere. I said she's going back to the trough. You said back to the well. Whatever's working for her, she's going back to it.
And credit Hinkle for keeping this at bat alive. These are some nasty pitches.
Sorgi and now Hinkle have had pretty good at-bats against the junior righty for Michigan. Another 2-2 and another foul ball. This one off the press box.
And this can be frustrating to deal with as a pitcher. You know, you think you've really got that put-away pitch, that strikeout pitch, only to see it just barely tapped. It takes resiliency to stick with it.
The 2-2. That one got her outside corner, and Hinkle is retired after a really good at-bat. And as you can, Hinkle on the way back to the dugout will have a few words of advice to the on-deck batter, Jamarino, and then also Kendall Wheeler, who rounds out the lineup, about what Blanco was throwing, because Hinkle got to see the entire arsenal. One out now for Jamarino. That a off-speed pitch that catches the bottom part of the zone.
Yeah, beautiful. At the knees, outer edge. Nothing Jamarino's doing with that one.
So the 0-1 to Jamarino, one out here, top third. Jamarino might have shown bunt, but pulls it back, 1-1.
She's got a really awkward approach. She is crouched over, holding the bat out, kind of sticking it, not in front of home plate, but not back behind her shoulder either before she, loads up in preparation for the pitch.
The 1-1. Low, and Alexander will block it. 2-1, Jamarino on the year, 200. Has started every game for the Falcons. A home run, 4 RBIs to her credit, 4 for 4 on the base paths if she were to reach. Here's the 2-1. And it's high and inside, 3-1. Alexander will go out to have a chat with Blanco.
Blanco got behind in the count, 2-0 to Hinkle, now behind 3-1 to Jamarino. Not the part of the lineup where you want to be wasting pitches necessarily. You're going against a 196 hitter, a 200 hitter. The types of players who are less likely to hurt you if you were to hang something over the zone.
The 3-1 offering from Blanco will catch the zone, and that'll push the count full.
Right down Broadway, and looked like Jamarino was taking all the way, because that's a very hittable pitch in that count.
Gave a slight nod after the home plate umpire put up his right hand. A payoff pitch upcoming. This one into center field. That'll be a base hit for the Falcons, and they have their first base runner of the afternoon as Morris snaps his fingers. Maybe another no-hit bid.
No bias in the press box, Kev, but yeah, every game from the first pitch on, I'm thinking about that perfecta, thinking about that no-no, thinking about the shutout even until it's broken up.
Number 9 hitter Kendall Wheeler will bat with a runner aboard. A slap hitter will take a called strike. And talk about what Megan Betts did this weekend. She gave up 1 hit in 14 innings. And the 1 hit was a dribbler in the infield that was bobbled, maybe misplayed, could have gone as an error, but ended up ruled as a hit. There's another called strike.
That is a real good pitch from Tara Blanco, catching the outer half of the outer edge of the plate. And it was a tough play for Montemurano, that one that won as a base hit, but
no bias.
Really picking nits here.
0-2 is outside. Yeah, like we said, no bias here.
I would have called it a hit at the time, but I would not have objected if a rogue scorekeeper were to call it favorably, to set up that second no-no.
The 1-2 to Wheeler here. A foul ball. It was a tapper in front of the plate. Ended up tapping Wheeler off the left leg, and she'll be called back to the batter's box.
And I think that requires a generous interpretation of that batter's box from home plate umpire Byron Smith. Looked like she might have been out of the box when that hit her.
I believe Peters was called out this weekend for hitting the ball out of the batter's box, or at least being touched with it. The 1-2. That one got her outside corner. There's strikeout number 3 for Tara Blanco.
She's really been getting those strikeouts, looking 2 in this inning alone. Good backdoor put-away pitch on Wheeler.
3 strikeouts for Tara Blanco, all of them of the looking variety, but the top of the order due up now. Sorgi with 2 outs, with Jamarino at first, called strike.
It's just straight gas coming out of the right arm of Tara Blanco. I think her confidence is high, and, you know, one just leads to the other. When your confidence is high, you pitch better. That feeds into your confidence even more. And she's attacking these Bowling Green hitters well.
Sorgi knows how to get on base, knows how to score, leads the team in runs scored with 26. The next closest Falcon is Searle with 17. Sorgi struck out looking, however, in her first at-bat back in the first inning to lead off the game. 0-1 pitch is low.
All 3 of her strikeouts today have come via the backwards K, looking. You wonder if that's just a fluke or a byproduct of something different she's doing out there.
Sample size.
Oh, there you go.
Blanco sets for the 1-1 offering and again paints the outside corner. 1-2 now. Jamarino over at first base, 4 for 4 in stolen base attempts this year. Montemurano about halfway between the third base bag and home plate. 1-2 pitch outside, that'll even the count at 2.
And just looking at this, the raw stat sheet in front of me, it looks like a patient approach at the plate is something preached by head coach Sarah Willis for Bowling Green. They have more walks and more strikeouts as a team offense than Michigan.
The 2-2 outside, and that'll run the count full once again. You mentioned Sarah Willis in her second year at the helm for the Falcons. So a full count offering here. Alex Sorgi looking to reach base. The 3-2, a tapper. Ramirez fields over to Falk, and that'll retire the side for the Falcons. A hit, 1 left on, and no damage as Blanco has gone 3 innings now with 3 strikeouts and only that lone hit allowed.
That one a high hopper, easy to collect for Abby Ramirez, but due to the speed of Sorgi, it required a seamless transition from glove to hand in order for her to whip it across the diamond and get Sorgi by a half step. But back to the whole patience thing. You know, Bowling Green, their offense, understandably not quite as talented, as prodigious as the Wolverines. And that's why I think it's impressive that they have 4 players with double-digit walks. Sorgi, in particular, has 20 walks on the season, that more than anybody else in this Wolverines order, despite, you know, having a hitter like Kelly Christner who gets pitched around. And then all but 1 hitter have double-digit strikeouts, and to me that does indicate that taking pitches, maybe even going down looking, is something that comes from the top down.
As a comparison, the Wolverines only have 3 hitters with double-digit walks this year. That would be Christner, Montemurano, and Blanco.
The usual suspects. So, Kev, I've been struggling over it in my head. We still don't have a catchy nickname for Betza and Blanco. 2 pitchers in this Wolverines rotation, B and B. I've thought of the BB Guns, but I think that's pretty lame. That's pretty lame.
That one needs
you can't
to be
deny.
Let me find a trash can somewhere in the press box here.
There are several.
The bottom of the 3rd inning underway. Blanco takes a called strike. Blanco reached on that error, which allowed the 1st inning to extend. Later scored a run, so 0 for 1 today, but a big at-bat. 0-1 will skip in front of the plate, and that'll even the count at 1.
You could just go simpler. You know, B&B is already a thing for bed and breakfast, so Betza and Blanco, Blanco and Betza, whatever you prefer primacy-wise. But B&B, it's a little too easy for my taste.
I think we need to open it up to Twitter, Mo, because I'm not a fan of either of those. Blanco fouls one away, 1 and 2.
At least I'm trying, Kev. I haven't heard any ideas from you.
You can tweet us at WCBN Sports. It's an interesting debate, though, Mo. I'll give you that one.
If you get a real good one, it will be referenced on every broadcast we do until the end of time.
Blanco will take the 1-2 high.
And Blanco really a hitter that epitomizes a patient approach at the plate. Not the strikeout totals you would expect from that, which I think also attests to her prowess with 2 strikes.
She takes one there in the dirt and has worked a full count. Blanco has walked 13 times this year.
Only 9 strikeouts to go with that.
Has also been hit 7 times. So I don't know what she does, but able to get on base. Fouls one away there. The count will remain full.
She doesn't really crowd the plate either. She doesn't hunch over. It's not like she's asking to be hit. Maybe the pitchers who face her just know her reputation and feel the need to try something extra, and that leads to wildness.
Payoff pitch from Parker. Low, and there's that good eye from Tara Blanco. She's aboard with a walk.
And it's a little easier to take a walk coming back from a 2-strike count when Parker misses as badly as she did with a couple of the breaking balls, bouncing not only in the dirt but well in front of home plate. But Blanco still did a good job fouling off the close ones, taking the close ones high and then outside, and leading off the inning well for the Wolverines. Looks like we're going to see a pinch runner.
That will be Nikki Wald. 20th game for Wald. Scored 6 times. Usually that first pinch runner off the bench for Carol Hutchins. So speed at the plate in Abby Ramirez, as well as the base paths. Ramirez bunts, and that one is spun foul.
Catcher Lane Simmons might have almost had a chance to reach out and snag that bunt if,
I'm not sure if that would have been called an out. I think it would have, though, because it got some pretty good air on it. It wouldn't have been a foul tip into the glove.
You don't often see stuff like that.
The 0-1, this one is swung on, but is again foul. So Ramirez down on the count with 2 strikes.
And you saw last Sunday Hutch sort of vacillating between a sack bunt decision and then letting her hit her swing freely with Kelly Christner. And her hit broke open the game against Ronnie Ladinas.
The 0-2 is up the middle for a base hit. Ramirez on board for the second time today. And the first 2 Wolverines reach base. Montemurano up to bat now. She had an RBI single back in the first.
Yeah, I think it was a similar situation. A runner on first, nobody out, Christner at the bat. And I criticized Coach Carol Hutchins for taking the bat out of her best hitter with the decision to bunt first off. She fouled it off, but then reversed course, let Christner swing away. She got a single, got on base, first and second. Falk's double ended up scoring 2.
So Montemurano up to the plate here will take a ball low.
Real good eye there. Looked poised to uncork on that one if it were to find the zone, but pulled back when she realized it was going way slower than anticipated.
Something that has always impressed for the Wolverines is how good their eyes are at the plate. Another close pitch is taken for a ball here, 2-0.
We're trying to nickname the pitching duo. We got to come up with a nickname for Stu Burlow and Griffin Hickman, our 2 most loyal listeners. They claim that they're going to try to come up with some good nicknames for this B&B duo. We'll report if there are any good ones.
We'll keep an eye out for that. The 2-0 is into left field. That'll drop for a base hit. Wald will be held up at third. Bases loaded. Nobody down. Wolverines threatening once again.
Monty a bit lucky there. Out in front, caught it with the end of the bat, found a hole, and the Wolverines continue to threaten.
It looked like that one might have hung up long enough for Sorgi, but it was placed so close to the left field foul line that Montemurano will be credited with a base hit.
And that's why Wald couldn't score from second base. As a base runner, you want to be aware of the defensive positioning, but
Vargas will take a called strike.
But it would have been dicey there with especially with no outs and
Why
a bevy
risk
of hitters. Exactly.
Vargas 1 for 1, 2 RBIs back in the first. Looking for her second big hit of the afternoon. It will not come there as Parker's offering just off the corner.
Brooke Parker has really got to collect herself here. She's facing the 2 weakest hitters in the lineup, by their location in the order.
The 1-1 is away. Credit Vargas wearing short sleeves. It says it's 50 degrees out, but the wind is whipping.
I'm wearing short sleeves too, Kev, at least rolled up sleeves.
Room temperature here inside the press box, though. 2-1 upstairs. Parker 1 ball away from walking the 5th Michigan run home.
And we see sort of a tendency for things to spiral out of control for Parker. Hasn't responded well to adversity in this game.
Vargas sends one over the glove of Hinkle. That'll score Wald. Here comes Ramirez, and it's another 2-run single for Amanda Vargas.
A bobble by the right fielder Wheeler made Ramirez scoring a formality, but I don't think she would have had a chance at Ramirez either way. Nice job by Vargas to just pound that one into the hard dirt. Don't know if it's totally unfrozen underneath this infield yet. So the ball bounced just a little more, and it was just enough to get over the glove of Hinkle and into right field.
You're right, she hit that ball so hard into the ground. Hinkle stands at 5'4" and unable to keep that one in the infield, as we'll have a quick visit in the circle.
Some big innings today for the Wolverines. A big bottom of the first inning. In the second, I think they went 1, 2, 3, maybe one hit in there.
Peters led off the second inning with the tapper.
Yep, you got it. And now here in the third, they've really been able to string things together. And it's the kind of cluster luck that we alluded to in our podcast, East of the Rockies, which you can listen to on iTunes and SoundCloud. We talk all kinds of Michigan softball. We got interviews there. It's good stuff, I would say, objectively, with no bias in play.
Like I said, if you want to take one theme away from our broadcast, it's no bias.
Yeah, there you go. We don't care whether this team wins or loses. But anyway, yeah, I've had a lot of fun making it. It's one of my favorite things I've done at the station, along with broadcasting softball. And I think you might be able to learn something if you give it a listen.
I definitely learn something every week being able to listen to you, Mo. That one off the bat of Alexander, a ranging catch from Searle for the first out of the inning. The Falcons were trying to double up Thais Gonzalez, who came in to run for Montemurano.
I think Sorgi might have had a better beat on it, and as an outfielder, you have the right of way if you want to call for it, but the way the shortstop Searle was charging after that ball, I would not have wanted to call her off.
So Peters, who has already tallied 2 singles, looking for single number 3, or hit number 3, I should say. Peters will swing right through the first pitch from Parker.
An audacious secondary lead from Thais Gonzalez. Maybe not a huge threat to swipe third, but you got to test that defense.
Especially with Peters being in the left-handed batter's box. A ground ball to Searle, fields, and that'll be out number 2. Everyone moves up a base as Vargas will take second. Gonzalez over to third. And if the Wolverines want to tally a few more runs, it will take a 2-out hit from Faith Canfield, who has popped it up to both corner infielders today. Once to Schrock in the first, Parker in the second. Takes the first pitch low here.
Canfield, one of only 3 Wolverines in the starting lineup who has not gotten on base yet today. The other 2 being Falk and Katie Alexander.
That pitch tails away, and it's 2-0. Good hitters count for Canfield, who really has been swinging a good bat. Came into this one batting 342, dropped down to 333, but provides a lot of power for the Wolverines and has a 3-0 count to work with here. Canfield bounced around the lineup a little bit. We've seen her in the 2 spot, clean up 6 spot, all over the lineup, very versatile. Parker readies for the 3-0 delivery. And that one not even close. You think with the base open at first base that Parker didn't want to risk anything crazy, but then again, you look at who the on-deck hitter is, and maybe she would want to think twice about that.
Absolutely. Canfield taking all the way. You see these hitters take a step toward the back of the box as the opposing pitcher embarks on their motion whenever they're taking 100%.
Christner 1 for 2 today with a run, has the bases loaded here with 2 outs. Michigan on top 6-0, looking to add more in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
And Christner, a hard take on that strike 1-2. Twists it out of the way of a pitch on the outer edge.
Christner batting .556 with 2 outs, but is down in the count here. Not a good hitter's count, 0-2. Christner came into this one with 4 home runs, which is tied for the team lead with Canfield. And here's the 0-2. It's a slow roller to Hinkle. She will field, toss it over to Parker, and that's in time for out number 3. But the Wolverines add 2 more in the bottom of the 3rd. It's 6-0 Michigan as we head to the 4th.
Another crooked number for the maize and blue. That's not a characteristic swing out of Kelly Christner, but that is the advantage of being ahead in the count 0-2. Parker, I'm not sure if the lefty versus righty splits are similar in softball to what they are in baseball, but I have to imagine that having a breaking ball that is more likely to tail away from a lefty hitter will work to the advantage of the pitcher more often than not. And that off-speed pitch off the plate, low and away, Christner just, yanked it, rolled over. It's the kind of pitch you're trying to foul off rather than really drive somewhere. And unfortunately for Christner, put it in play and left some runners stranded.
And Christner with that out, her average now at 447, but you knew it was going to drop down a little bit. But what's encouraging for Michigan is who's stepping up in the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, Montemurano in particular. Throughout her entire career, she's been the type of player who has seen an uptick in her stats when she comes home. Or at least around that point in the season, a traditional slow starter. And look who's out there at 3rd base. Alex Subject in the infield. Sorry, but speaking of Lindsey Montemurano, she is no longer on the field. And I haven't ever seen Subject take any reps at that 3rd base spot, but maybe Hutch just trying to give her some chances, give her a chance to get in the lineup. Who knows? Usually you'd see Taylor Swearingen come off the bench in this sort of a spot.
Well, with a 6-0 lead, maybe Carol Hutchins trying to switch something up. Not sure why Montemurano left the game. Doubt it was due. 2-3-4 for Bowling Green here, and it's Sammy Parave to start things off. She's 0 for 1, bounced out to Canfield in the 1st.
Only saw 1 pitch her first at bat, so you see Parave take all the way here.
The 0-1 is low, 1-1.
And Parave, a slap hitter just like her predecessor, Alex Sorgi, but this Michigan defense not quite as far in if I had to make a judgment.
Might test Subject over at 3rd base early on. 1-1 is to Ramirez for out number 1.
Routine grounder, a worm burner, if you will, and doesn't get much easier for Abby Ramirez.
So Parave, 2 ground outs now, and here's the meat of the order. It's Searle, and Raker is in the on-deck circle. Blanco has been very economical so far today with her pitches for 10 outs. It's only taken her 55 tosses. Searle way out in front of that one.
It's windy out there right now, but I could feel the air coming from that swing from Aspen Searle. Nothing but air.
The 0-1 is on the inside corner, and Searle down to the count 0-2 now. She flew out to Courtney Richardson to end the first frame.
Bit unfair that. Opening up with the changeup and then coming back with that kind of velocity.
High and tight to Searle. 1-2 now. Subject hugs the third base line. Outfield playing straight up for one of the two power hitters for the Falcons. On the 0-2 or the 1-2 pitch, excuse me, it runs inside. That'll push the count even at 2.
And 15 out of Searle's 36 hits this season have gone for extra bases. Haven't seen her make any solid contact today, though.
She's going to take her cuts, only 6 walks on the year. The 2-2, swing and a miss. Alexander, I believe, applied the tag, but just to be sure, will throw it down to Falk. But that's strikeout number 4 for Tara Blanco.
I don't even know that that pitch was in the dirt, so Alexander tried to record that out 3 different ways. First making the catch, then making the tag, and then the throw down to first for good measure, although Searle stopped about a third of the way down the line.
You can never be too sure. Raker will see a ball here, 1-0. 0 for 1 today is Chelsea Raker.
Raker, a similar ratio of extra base hits to hits overall.
The 3-4 hitters definitely are where the Falcons make their money. That one is pulled foul, 1-1.
Make their money purely in metaphorical sense, of course.
Of course.
It's a topic for another day, maybe another show. Amateurism in college sports. Eats of the Rockies, episode 7.
I don't know. That could be a 2, 3, 4 hour long debate. 2-1 on Raker. She takes the ball low.
We get few enough listeners as is. We don't need controversy.
She's slugging nearly 700 on the year, so extra bases not out of the question here. 2-1 from Blanco. Raker was right on that one, but fouls it straight back.
Looked like she had Blanco timed up there, but the pitch up and out of the zone, difficult to adapt your normal swing mechanics to an abnormal location.
Blanco with the 2-2 delivery inside. Raker steps out of the way and earns herself a full count.
Not many 3-ball counts from Tara Blanco so far today. She's gotten her share of looking strikeouts.
3-2 pitch, 2 outs, top of the 4th. Blanco's pitch is into left field. Should be an easy grab for Richardson. 5 steps in, and that'll do it for the top of the 4th. We are halfway through this one. 6-0 Michigan on top of Bowling Green. This is WCBN Sports' presentation of Michigan softball.
And off the bat, that ball looked a little more dangerous than it ended up being. The wind that is now blowing from, I'd say, left to right, maybe just out toward right field, is one that will knock down fly balls into left field. And you saw Richardson at first froze before jogging in to make that catch on that Raker fly ball. And we saw a similar effect over the weekend against Kent State that really troubled Vanessa Squirsti, Kent State's outfielder. Michigan kept sending balls out into that left center field gap, and Squirsti got beaten over her head. She turned over the wrong shoulder from time to time, sometimes made the adjustment in spectacular fashion, but it ended up her weekend with her running into a wall. And getting hurt as a result of this wind that has persisted into the weekdays here in Ann Arbor.
I was so impressed with Kent State's defense all weekend long. You think of Scorsty, you think of Abeska at second base making some diving grabs, just absolutely phenomenal, and took probably a double or a triple away from Christner. That would be Scorsty with that crazy turning catch. And it was actually almost the exact same route she took when she crashed into the wall. We'll have a new pitcher here in the bottom of the fourth. It's Meredith Miller, the sophomore from Sugar Land, Texas. Probably the ace of the staff, so-called ace, 2.86 ERA, 7-3 on the year, 16th appearance. She started 9 games, 71 innings, 29 earned runs, 62 strikeouts to 22 walks. Opponents hitting .246 against her, is a little susceptible to extra bases, has given up 13 doubles and 9 home runs this year, and will look to tame the Michigan offense. It'll be Falk, Blanco, and Ramirez, the middle third for the Maize and Blue.
You always like to see the best of what an opposing team has to offer if you are the Wolverines, if you really want to test yourself. So good to see Miller out here after Parker got off to an inauspicious start.
Miller's first pitch will catch the zone. 0-1 on Falk, who's 0 for 2 today, but a lot of that damage done against Parker, not her fault. 4 of those runs, 4 of the 6 runs, unearned, thanks to a E6 back in the first. The 0-1 is fouled away off the protective netting on the left side. And Falk down in the count 0-2.
With Aiden Falk, it's kind of night and day for her. Some games she looks totally locked in, driving line drives to all field, and others, defensive swings getting underneath the ball. Not going to get underneath that one as it sails over the backstop.
Really couldn't have a higher pitch there. Probably a good 2 feet above Falk's head.
Good eye, though. She did not swing.
Hey, laid off the high cheese. Miller's 1-2 pitch is into left field, over the glove of Searle. That'll be a base hit.
So as I was saying, Aiden Falk, very consistent hitter, always able to rebound after a slow start to the game, and she does so there with a 2-strike knock.
I think one of my favorite things is when Mo has to eat his words.
They, I'd rather eat my words than go starving, I guess. Long day at work. Really
taking that metaphor to heart.
Long day at work. It'll help me wash down the Cheetos and Chewy bar that I gulped down in preparation for this broadcast. Brain food, if you will.
Dinner of champions, as Taylor Swearingen, the junior, will run for Aiden Falk. Blanco set to take the box for her 3rd plate appearance. Actually 0 for 1 today, reached on an air, walked, scored a run, and then was ran for by Nikki Wald last inning. She scored a run as well. Going against Meredith Miller for the first time. That one inside, and Blanco scoots out of the way.
A .400 on-base percentage this season for Tara Blanco. Maybe not typical from a typical stats of a cleanup or a number 5 hitter.
1-0 is fouled away.
But still, she has had production in this lineup, even if it has not taken the form, that you would expect out of a power bat like hers.
Still a dangerous bat, will give you good at-bats. Has a 1-1 count here. Miller with the wine and throws that one right past Blanco for strike number 2.
Maybe trying to do a little much there with that swing. Coach Hutchins said that when she starts to press too much, her swing gets long, and that one looked like she sort of dropped the hands and swung around the zone instead of going from point A to point B.
We'll have to protect here. Got her on the outside corner. Meredith Miller with her first strikeout of the day, and that's actually the first Wolverines strikeout of the day. It's out number 1 in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, Blanco, a patient approach at the plate, per usual, but that one too close to take.
Ramirez has had a busy day at the dish, 1 for 1, has reached base twice, an RBI hit by pitch, fouls this one straight back, has scored twice. On deck is Alex Subject, so Montemorano has departed the game. The delivery is fouled in the exact same spot as the first pitch of the at-bat, and Ramirez down 0-2.
Seems like the Wolverines are having a bit of trouble catching up to the speed of Miller, especially given the adjustment they have to make going from a lefty to a righty with different stuff.
The 0-2, very close pitch, but just a bit outside.
Off speed, and from our vantage point, sometimes it's tough to tell exactly where the pitch is located, but you can tell by little things like how long the catcher holds the ball in place as to how close to the zone.
Miller works with good pace, and another pitch is spoiled by Ramirez. This one reaches the third base bleachers.
Easy to be sort of an armchair fan from up here in the press box, but I'm always sort of embarrassed on behalf of fans who don't react well to foul balls.
It'll be another 1-2 pitch. Low and away.
You know, you have to adjust for age, for being swaddled in various garments that make it more difficult to react quickly. But, you know, it's your one chance to shine in front of the audience at the game. Got to go for the foul balls.
The 2-2. Another pitch is wasted. Ramirez putting together a good at-bat here in the bottom of the 4th.
What do you think of Ramirez in the 6th spot as opposed to near the top of the order with her on-base chops?
I like it. I think it splits up the order nicely. It puts a different dynamic in the middle of the order. Ball high, that'll run the count full. But you look at who's usually behind her, or behind the 6th spot. It's Montemorano, Alexander. And I think with those bats behind her who have extra base potential, they can drive her in. It's almost like a second leadoff instead of being in the 9th spot as she pops one up right to Searle at shortstop for out number 2. Instead of that second leadoff coming in the 9th spot, it's coming in the 6th spot. So a different dynamic in the lineup. I like it.
I think it bodes well for the offense, too, that Ramirez's consistency comes with a surge in production from Montemorano behind her. Because when you put the two together in the sequence that they are, you see Ramirez getting on base, maybe getting bunted to second, swiping second, and then Monty's got the power and the consistency to drive her in. And then, of course, before you know it, you're back at the top of the order.
Here is Alex Zubjek. First pitch she sees, sends it into right field, but a running grab from Wheeler will retire the side. Alex Zubjek took the batter's box with a good swing, but is retired there, pinch hitting for Montemorano. So we are through 4 here, Michigan up 6-0.
And I may be inclined at times to make excuses on behalf of struggling players, but while Tara Blanco and Alex Subject's batting averages might be lower than one might have expected going into the season, it really does seem like they've hit a lot of line drives at outfielders, at infielders, hard ground balls that if they found a hole, you're talking a batting average that's 30 or 40 points higher, and the whole narrative around their seasons change. So it must be tough to see there for Alex Subject to get a good swing to the opposite field only to have it settle in the glove of an outfielder. But eventually, as we've seen with the 6-0 performance today, these things will right themselves. They will turn around. Defensive
changes for the Wolverines in the top of the 5th. Subject stays at third base for her second inning of defensive work. She'll be tossing it over to Taylor Swearingen, who has entered the game at first base. Haley Hoganrod in left field for Courtney Richardson. Everything else will stay the same for the Wolverines, as Tara Blanco will face Schrock, Simmons, and Hinkle here in the top of the fifth.
You got to wonder how devoted exactly Carol Hutchins will be to trying to get that run rule victory. Got one more inning to get 2 runs before it becomes less and less useful, but you know, a 6-run lead is also a good chance to get your players some reps, and it might not be the best for the team to end this one after 5.
Blanco's first pitch to Schrock hits the zone. Schrock 0 for 1 today. A grounder to Montemurano at third in the second.
And we've got no reason to believe that 2 runs won't be enough for the run rule. Blanco has been nearly untouchable today.
Schrock shows bunt, but pulls it back in time for ball 1 to be called. Hitting .375, starting off an inning so far this year, is Haley Schrock. Really knows how to start off an inning the right way for Bowling Green. 2-1 now.
And, you know, Blanco and Betts' improvement over the recent stretch probably has something to do with the competition against which they're playing, but at the same time, Blanco is learning her role. Betts is recovering from a long offseason without working.
The 2-1 in there for strike number 2.
And I think that while, you know, some of it can be attributed to the opponent, I also think that the sheer dominance that both have displayed as of late attests to growth and a potential for further growth throughout the Big Ten slate.
A 2-2 pitch is into right field. Peters there for the grab, and that's out number 1. But I think you're absolutely right, Morris, as Betsa has a 1.69 ERA on the year, 91 and a third inning so far, 164 strikeouts. She had 30 strikeouts this past weekend. Absolute crazy numbers. She had 17 in Saturday's game, which ended up being a no-hitter. Only 4 balls put in play against the Wolverines ace. First pitch to Simmons is pulled foul.
What was the over-under at the beginning of the year? Was it 340?
I think it was 330.
330. All right, well.
So she's about halfway there.
I like my odds. I will just leave it at that.
Opponents only hitting 159 against her. The 0-1 inside to Simmons, who's 0 for 1 today. And Blanco's been just as good. Her ERA down to 2.07, 9-2, and has really learned how to strike out the opposition over the last 2 or 3 outings. Here's the 1-1. A fly ball into left field. Hoganrod loses it in the wind, and Simmons will be satisfied with the double. That ball was hit so far up in the air, it got caught in the wind, and Hoganrod unable to make the grab. I thought it had a chance to actually go out right off the bat, but I think the wind pushed it in a little bit, at least pushed it to the right, where the wall's a little deeper.
Yeah, Hoganrod thought it was gone off the bat. She instantly jetted right back to that wall to feel it out, ready herself for a home run saving grab. And then when she turned and finally located the ball, it was in front of her and off to the left. Not what you'd expect, but that's the first time this wind has really had an impact on the game today.
So the pinch runner for Simmons at second base is Michaela Wood, a freshman from Galva, Illinois. A one-out double will task Blanco with working around here in the top of the fifth. Hinkle shows bunt, but pulls it back. first runner in scoring position for the Falcons. Second base runner all day long. A base hit from Jamarino in the third. The other base runner against the Wolverines. Hinkle, an upright stance in the right-handed batter's box. Takes one inside.
An aggressive secondary lead by Michaela Wood down at second base. We haven't seen Katie Alexander tested as frequently as Alex Subject behind home plate. I think Subject's got a somewhat better arm, but certainly Alexander's nothing to scoff at.
A bunt is laid down, but it's foul. Wood has to stay put there.
Bowling Green, a paltry 0 for 2 with runners on base today. They haven't gotten a lot of chances.
No stolen base attempts for Wood. 2-1 is grounded up the middle. Ramirez gloves it, keeps it in the infield, but it'll be an infield single for Hinkle. Runners at the corners now for the Falcons.
I wonder how much of a chance Tara Blanco had at that ball. It almost looked like she consciously decided to let that go by her because she doubted her ability to stab at it. You never want to make the deflection that fools your infielders behind you and, you know, knocks it into the outfield against their momentum. But at the same time, maybe a ball she would have had. It's a tough ask, especially because she's recovering from the follow-through from the pitch. But in hindsight, maybe she could have offered at that. It's a tough break either way. And a nice play by Ramirez to prevent a run from scoring.
Yeah, you would think that although Wood doesn't have a lot of opportunities to swipe bags this year, she does have good speed as she's scored 4 times, but Ramirez a good play, like you said, to save that run. Bottom of the order coming up for Bowling Green. Jamarino will be followed by Kendall Wheeler. Jamarino 1 for 1 with that base hit back in the third. So runners on the corners now for Bowling Green. 1 out, top 5. Michigan enjoying a 6-run lead. Blanco will try to work out of the corners jam. It's another ball low after Jennifer Brundage made her way out to the circle to have a quick chat with Tara Blanco.
You wonder if Bowling Green's going to throw out any double steal shenanigans here.
The 1-0 is right down the middle, and I would probably doubt that. I don't know how aggressive Sarah Willis is, but at this point,
down 6 runs.
Down 6 runs. They need base runners with limited outs to work with. A 1-1 pitch is bunted foul. You see a lot of attempts at the bunt from Bowling Green here in the 5th frame.
Looked to be sort of a power bunt from Giammarino. Got a lot on it, slapped it foul toward the Michigan dugout, but probably trying to get that one by Blanco in the circle. Otherwise, she could just cut down and run it home.
Here's the 1-2. Upstairs. Swearingen a few steps in at first. Subject even with the bag at third. Will creep in a few steps on the pitch. Here's the 2-2 offering to Jamarino, and it is spoiled right back to the netting.
On deck are Kendall Wheeler and Alex Sorgi, both slappers, so while you don't necessarily have an open base to work with, if you load the bases, the utility of a slapper is diminished somewhat, just because you can get a force at any base.
The 2-2. Misses. Not sure where. I thought that was close.
I did too, Kev.
Again, our vantage point off to the side. It must have been a little outside as it had pretty good height. But the count is full now on Jamarino. The Blanco offering is fouled away.
Good location there from Tara. It was up in the zone, but in on the hands, and it was all Jamarino could do to fight that one off.
Jamarino, the sophomore from Amanda, Ohio, A full count here, looking to drive in the first Falcon run of the game. It's fouled away. You know what? You have to credit Bowling Green because although they've only been able to scratch across 3 hits, they've really worked some pretty good at-bats.
For sure. You can tell Blanco's pitch count rising now into the 80s. And it's really only been a few hitters, but yeah, they've done some work.
Another payoff. Into center field. That'll get down for a base hit. Quickly getting it in is Kelly Christner, but Bowling Green will scratch across their first run of the game. An RBI single for Jamarino. And with Hinkle at second now, Jamarino at first, Kendall Wheeler will have an opportunity to drive in another.
Jamarino having herself a day for the Falcons. 2 for 2, plenty of space out there in shallow left center field, just dumped it down.
The first pitch in the Wheeler at-bat is a called strike. Wheeler struck out looking in the third. One of 4 strikeout victims for Tara Blanco. Blanco works quickly here. The 0-1 off speed, and it's fouled away. As Mo mentioned, Wheeler a slap hitter, Sorgi a slap hitter, as Sorgi awaits in the on-deck circle.
I think Jamarino and Hinkle are aware of this situation, that they're really being aggressive and taking off at the first sign of contact.
0-2. Swing and a miss. Kendall Wheeler down on strikes. It's a big strikeout for Tara Blanco as she's 1 out closer from getting out of this 5th inning jam.
No contact to take off on there.
Through the heat outside, and Wheeler just waved at it. Nothing she could really do with that pitch. That'll bring up Sorgi, 0 for 2 today. Taps one foul.
Hit one on a high hop to Ramirez in her last at-bat back in the 3rd inning. It was a tight play at first base. It'll be a little easier at second in this situation if, you know, she hits the exact same ball.
Blanco's readies with the 0-1, and it's high and outside. Subject creeping in at her third base perch on the pitch as Ramirez creeping laterally. Sorgi is the slap hitter at the top of the order. Here's the 1-1. It's tapped. Blanco will field the throw in time. And Tara Blanco works out of a jam, only giving up the 1 run. It was a 1-out double off the bat of Lane Simmons, and then base hits from Hinkle and Jamarino to drive in the pinch hitter or pinch runner, Michaela Wood, and it's 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
You know, there's an old coaching adage about the usefulness of hitting ground balls as opposed to fly balls. You know, when you hit a fly ball, there's only one thing the defense needs to do right, and that is to catch the ball. When you hit a grounder, there's 3 things. They got to catch, they got to throw, and they got to catch the throw at the other end of things. And I think that's especially true on the softball diamond, where it's only a 60-foot base path, so each step of that transition has to be flawless. Anyway, long story short, Tara Blanco did it all well there, ranging to her right, planting, and making a strong throw to first base to Swearingen.
And you think about it, you know Sorgi has good speed because she's at the top of the order, leads the team in stolen base attempts and stolen bases. So overall, good defensive effort from the pitcher there. Vargas, Alexander, and Peters due up for the Wolverines as it is 6-1 as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. You're listening to the WCBN Sports' YouTube channel. Meredith Miller will again take the circle for her 2nd inning of work. Came in relief of Brooke Parker, who went 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, only 2 of them earned, 2 walks. That was her final stat line.
Meredith Miller, markedly better so far in one inning of work.
Gave up that leadoff single to Aiden Falk, but slammed the door with Blanco, Ramirez, and Subject going down in order. Here's Vargas, who's 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs. Both of her singles today have been 2-run singles, coming in the first and third innings. Here leading off the 5th. It's 2-0 quickly on Vargas.
Meanwhile, over on Ray Fisher Stadium, the baseball team is practicing. They closed off their series against Northern Illinois yesterday with a doubleheader sweep. We're not covering tomorrow's game for them because we'll be here at Alumni, but we'll be bringing coverage of that team throughout the season.
A 2-0 catches the inside corner. 2-1. Vargas now has 10 RBIs on the year.
Only 29 at-bats for that, too.
A drive down the right side will scoot foul. One of 6 Wolverines now with double-digit RBIs. But you're absolutely right, Morris. 29 at-bats, 10 RBIs, takes advantage of her opportunities with some extra base power as well. A 2-2 count to work with here, and it's skied. A pop-up in foul territory and making the catch, Lane Simmons, as she camps under it. Good job battling the win there, out number 1.
It's tough to stress appropriately how difficult it is to come from that catcher position and make catches on foul balls around the area behind home plate. And you could tell it was difficult for her. She lunged at it at the end to make the catch. With the wind swirling the way they are, nice job tracking it from Simmons there.
Alexander, the number 9 hitter, 0 for 2 today. There's strike number 1.
And the catching position has been a weak point in the Michigan offense. Alexander and Subject, I believe, both hitless on the weekend against Kent State. So far today, both yet to tally a hit. Fortunately, you got kind of 2 rounds in the chamber.
Alexander fouls one back. It's quickly 0-2. Alexander still hitting 300 on the year, though, as a few clutch hits. You think of the 2-run double in Lexington. That one coming, I believe, against Evansville. 0-2 pitch, again fouled straight back.
Yeah, certainly I think the potential is there for the position to turn into a strength for the Wolverines, but at the moment, no one has really grabbed the reins and asserted themselves as the starter. Alexander, understandably, in the lead at that spot, but unless she, continues on a tear, that'll be subject to change.
No pun intended.
Oh, geez. Oh, man.
Someone write that one
That's
down.
a subject change. That's ooh.
1-2 now on Alexander.
I'll claim it was intentional.
That one runs high. It's 2-2. Lane Simmons trying to calm her pitcher down just a little bit. Meredith Miller, an inning and a third so far, has given up just 1 hit.
Good eye from Alexander, taking a close one up high. A lot of hitters will chase that one up the ladder.
Alexander slices this one back. It's 2-2. The count will remain even.
One thing you desire a little more from Katie Alexander, patience at the plate. She's got 10 strikeouts to go along with 0 walks on the season. But, more of this, what she's shown in this at-bat, will be a plus.
2-2, and that one is scorched down the left field line.
Well, she might lose her spot if she kills her coach. A hard ground ball. Hutch has still got it, though. Still got the quick reactions. I'm surprised she didn't catch that one.
Hutch able to move out of the way in time. Another 2-2. Will bounce 5 feet in front of the plate, and Alexander has worked a full count to her advantage.
It's got to be around 10 pitches in this at-bat alone. Alexander adjusting to a new arm and, looks to be doing it well.
Simmons gets the sign, relays it to Miller, and that one driven deep into left center field. That one is a no-doubter, a home run. Katie Alexander, her first of the year.
Oh, that was an absolute rocket from Katie Alexander. A hard, looked like a riser just above the knees. And eventually, as a pitcher, you get pitch after pitch wasted. Alexander worked for that, working her way up to a 3-ball count. Finally found one in her wheelhouse, worked her way into a rhythm throughout the at-bat, and deposited off the back of the batter's eye of Ray Fisher Stadium.
Her first home run, 5th RBI. It's a solo shot for Katie Alexander. That one here at Alumni, the Alumni backs up to Ray Fisher Stadium, and that hit the batter's eye at Ray Fisher. Just an absolute bullet.
I was getting ready to congratulate her on her first walk of the year, but that's a bit better.
That one good for 4 bases instead of 1. Peters now back to the top and swings and misses. It'll hit Simmons right in the helmet. Not sure if Peters made contact with that ball. Simmons took it right off the helmet, though. I don't think she made contact with it. I think it was just a clean strike, and Simmons might have missed it because Peters is a slapper. There's a called strike. 0-2 now on Peters, who's 2 for 3 today. Scored a run back in the first.
It's always fun to watch a catcher with sort of a deer in headlights look, and I think that was present after she got hit in the mask. You hope she's not hurt. I don't think she was.
0-2 is up.
But, it's just, you get hit in the face with a rapidly moving solid sphere, and your reaction is going to be a stunned one.
Looks to be okay, though. Didn't even have to shake it off.
She's a catcher. She's tough.
Peters, a 1-2 pitch. This one grounded to Searle. Bobbles it, not in time, and that'll be an E6.
What was that about needing to do 3 things on a grounder? Searle was too focused on steps 2 and 3 to succeed at step 1, which is actually catching the grounder. You could tell she was already in the process of throwing to first, and she needed to be. Peters might have even beaten that one out if it were fielded cleanly. It's probably going to go down as an error as it stands, but that's why slap hitting is so effective.
So difficult to have to field the ball, and you know that Peters has such great speed. Searle rushed in her fielding. Canfield swings at the first pitch. Searle will get another opportunity on the pop-up, and she'll make that grab for out number 2.
Game-ending run still at the plate now for Kelly Christner, and I love this. They're calling Katie Alexander the Saline Slugger from Saline, Michigan on the softball Twitter account. Gotta imagine they had that one queued up, and they can be clever too. I'd like to think we're ahead of the game, but
I mean, with what you're throwing out today,
geez.
I don't know about
I'm going to be out of a job soon.
0-1 on Christner. She's 1 for 3 today. 2 groundouts to the second baseman, Hinkle. But with a home run here would send the Wolverines home with a victory. The 0-1 is fouled. 0-2 on the senior center fielder for Michigan. Peters aboard for the 3rd time today. Outfield playing Christner straight up. Here's the 0-2. It's outside. Peters goes. Throw. Not in time. Not even. I don't even think Searle got the tag down on Peters. We had a great vantage point right on the baseline.
Yep, she had to dive across the bag to corral that throw and never able to slap the glove down on Peters. Would have been bang, bang had the throw been on the money. But that is, I believe, number 12. No. Number 5 for Natalie Peters. Not that it matters.
1-2 is cut on and missed. Christner down on strikes. The Wolverines leave one on second, but not before Katie Alexander extends the lead back to 6. It's 7-1 after 5. Top of the 6th coming up here in Ann Arbor.
I was only off by 7 on her stolen base total.
Probably thinking of Alex Sorgi.
I was indeed. You got me there. Speaking of Sorgi, she is going to be last in the order for Bowling Green as the 2, 3, 4 hitters come into the plate. And Blanco has really done her job in handling that aspect of the order. In limiting the top of the lineup, she's been able to really pitch at her leisure against the likes of Searle and Raker. And it's only been the bottom of the order that's given her any trouble. The 6, 7, 8 hitters, a combined 4 for 6 against Tara Blanco. I don't think there are any base runners anywhere else in the lineup.
You would be correct, Morris. Jamarino especially 2 for 2 with that RBI single.
Michigan a whopping 6 for 21 with runners on base today. That is a 286 average. 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position. It's a marked improvement. Yeah, it's a marked improvement over the likes of South Florida or Notre Dame. But at the same time, that that suboptimal capitalization is what stands between Michigan and a 5-inning game as opposed to a 6 or 7-inning tilt.
Looks like we are all set here for the 6th inning. Sammy Parave, 2 bounce outs to her name so far today. Blanco starts this one off with a strike.
Really effective spotting it on that outside edge to lefty hitters. Hard to tell whether it's a curveball or a screwball. That one looked to be moving more toward the outer half just from how Alexander framed it. Stop it, Kev. I totally can see these things.
Ground ball. Subject will get her first opportunity, and a good scoop from Swearingen, and that'll complete the 5-3 putout. So it was Subject's first opportunity of the day at third base, Swearingen's first at first base.
It takes a pitcher to know a pitcher, Kevin. I'm sure my experience pitching in high school baseball totally translates into diagnosing the offerings from Tara Blanco here today.
I think a lot of people would disagree. Aspen Searle will take strike 1. Maybe. Maybe I'm not giving you enough credit, Morris.
I would have to disagree with with myself if I were to assert something that bold.
Searle 0 for 2 today. That on-base percentage still over 400, though. 0-2 now.
It's still cold in Michigan, Kev. Somebody's got to heat up this press box, if only by exuding hot air.
0-2 pitch as the sun has peeked out of the clouds. 0-2 is low. Really, all the clouds have moved away. It's a bright, sunny day here.
It's softball season in Ann Arbor. Somebody should have told the weather gods prior to this weekend, though.
Some crazy weather this weekend in Michigan. The 1-2 off-speed pitch, and Searle is way late on it. Basically swung when the ball was already in Alexander's glove.
I've been there. It's not the pitch you're looking for, but you know it's going to be a strikeout looking if you don't swing, so you try to make it look a little better.
Chelsea Raker will take the box. First pitch, right side, and that'll drop foul. Peters was giving chase.
She's got the sunglasses out there underneath the visor. Not sure if she was rocking those in the first few innings of this game, but it's absolutely a necessity at this point.
Raker has flied out to left field and center field. The 0-1 is driven into the left center gap. That'll get down. This might be extra bases for Raker. It won't be, though, because of how quickly Christner got the ball in.
And what a relay from Faith Canfield, expertly touching the short hop such that it bounced up into the air and right over to Taylor Swearingen. Almost got Raker leading off first base. Totally intentional from the Michigan second baseman. Not so much. It was in the dirt, but Christner did a good job getting it in quickly.
Morris really likes giving the benefit of the doubt to the fielders. Schrock takes the first pitch high.
Perhaps that humor would work better in a visual medium, but in radio I realized I had to correct myself because the listeners probably wouldn't get the joke.
Schrock looking to reach base for her first time and is ahead of the count. 2 balls, 0 strikes. Wolverines back in action tomorrow afternoon against Eastern Michigan. We'll have that coverage for you as well.
Hopefully someone else will agree to come on with you, Kev.
I'll be here. 2-0 is low.
Solo broadcast, sometimes it's just you and your thoughts. I found that it was a dangerous place to be this weekend. A doubleheader solo while the basketball game was going on. It was an experience. It was fun seeing everybody in the press box watching the game while Michigan was playing Kent State, though. Well, you know, other than you guys who had a lot more to handle at the time.
The 3-0 to Schrock will cut the plate in half. Blanco,
I'm sure you guys were totally focused on your Big Ten Student U broadcast and
100%.
Not streaming. Were you on the camera?
No.
Oh, you weren't? Oh, that's a bummer. That would be kind of easy to get away with that, no?
The 3-1, that one high, and it's the first walk of the day for Blanco.
I suppose given your sort of executive responsibilities with Student U, you're not at liberty to divulge any indiscretions if they were to take place, which I'm sure they did not.
I am not going to shoot myself.
You don't
in
have
my
to
own
comment.
foot.
You don't have to comment.
No comment. Next question. Next batter for the Falcons. It's Lane Simmons. 1 for 2. A double to start the rally in the 5th. Another ball low from the arm of Blanco.
Simmons had a home run taken away by the wind, but turned into a double also by the wind and a lack of judgment by the left fielder Haley Hoganrod.
Difficult play, though.
Oh, for sure.
Another ball in the same place, and it's 2-0.
And I'm not surprised to see Jennifer Brundage coming out to have a talk with Tara Blanco. I was actually just about to suggest it because she has been uncharacteristically inaccurate in sharp contrast to how she's been throughout the first 5 innings and change of this game. Yeah, see, Simmons' mistake, though, is she left room for the wind to push it. Katie Alexander hit it in almost into the teeth of the wind, but just got so much clout on the ball that, you know, 1-0 short of a tornado knocking that one down.
Brundage's message is short.
And Alexander gives a little shoulder rub and a handshake to Tara Blanco before heading back behind the plate. Love just witnessing little moments like that that are evidence of the chemistry on this team.
Lane Simmons ahead in the count 2-0. Make that 2-1 as Blanco refines the zone.
Man, just pouring it in there, about belt high, inner half. Simmons probably taking all the way, to be fair.
Blanco's control today has really been great. Misses there, though, 3-1. She's gotten ahead of hitters with a first pitch strike 17 of 23 times.
Where do you see that? You've been keeping count? Oh, I see. It's right on the stat broadcast.
I've been keeping count.
Sure.
3-1 is a hot shot in the direction of Alex Subject.
Fantastic memory. That'll serve you well in a broadcasting career.
I keep my own score sheet. I color code it.
Yeah, you do. That's what the FPS stands for, though. Brilliant. The more you know.
Learn something new every day. 3-2 pitch now to Simmons with 2 aboard. Swing and a miss. Blanco out of the inning with her second strikeout of the frame. Both of them swinging. 7 strikeouts for Tara Blanco as she completes her 6th inning in the circle. It's 7-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. The Wolverines set to plate Falk, Blanco, and Ramirez. check that, probably Taylor Swearingen, Blanco, and Ramirez here in the bottom of the 6th.
Not a fist pump from Tara Blanco. The situation doesn't call for that sort of level of enthusiasm, but a brief closed fist of mild celebration as she heads back to the dugout. She's gotten out of a few jams today. She's stranded hitters with 2 outs. Bowling Green hitting 1 for 7 with 2 outs on the day today. And it's always nice to do it with a swinging K as well. It's been a very solid outing from Tara Blanco. Exactly what you would expect from a number 2 pitcher in a Wolverines rotation against a Bowling Green squad that has struggled this year on the home diamond. But even though it is in line with expectations, it's still always nice to see from a rotation that I perceive to be a question mark going into the season, but pretty much all of my questions have been answered with resounding positive stats.
Michigan has dominated the series with the Bowling Green Falcons. 30-4 the Wolverines are. The last meeting coming just about 2 years to date. It was March 18th, 2015 against Bowling Green here at Alumni Field, an 8-1 victory for Michigan. So the Wolverines looking to extend their dominance to 31-4. But first, they'll have their opportunities in the bottom of the 6th inning. Taylor Swearingen, big hack there, 0-1.
Yeah, Swearingen prone to swinging big and missing big, but like Tara Blanco, who is in the on-deck circle, Swearingen a patient approach and fewer at-bats. A .417 on-base percentage to accompany a .235 batting average.
Does have 1 home run on the year. It was a big dinger in Kentucky against the Wildcats. Pinch hit variety. 1-1 on Swearingen. Miller still in the circle. And Swearingen, the junior from Anaheim, California, will take a ball, and it's a good hitter's count here.
Another California representative on this team. I think Kelly Christner's from out there, along with Natalie Peters, if I'm not mistaken. Is Natalie? Okay, I'm dead wrong then. Forget it.
Pops one up here, third base side. Schrock barely had to move. It's a pop-up for out number 1. A lot of California talent here on the Michigan roster.
But Christner's not one of them.
Christner is not one of them. Christner from Tinley Park, Illinois.
Close enough. Both west of here. Peters at least is from San Diego, California. So I was 1 for 2.
Peters, Swearingen, Blanco, Canfield, and Vargas, all from California. A lot of West Coast talent. Blanco takes a ball low.
1 for 2, still hitting .500. That's better than average.
0 for 2 today. Reached on an error, scored a run, struck out looking in the 4th. 1 out, bottom of the 6th.
Count out 2-0 on Blanco, and the outfield still shaded deep against Michigan's number 5 hitter.
The 2-0 misses, and Blanco, another good eye. Not sure if the green light will be on for Blanco. Something we do know, though, is Madison Uden has taken the on-deck circle.
That'll be interesting to see.
3-0. Called strike, and I believe Blanco was ready to set the bat down.
Yep, I also would have liked to see Haley Hogenride get a chance at the plate, but she's hitting for Courtney Richardson, and the Wolverines are going to have to DP for someone in the field whenever Blanco is in the circle.
3-1 is drilled, but caught by Hinkle. There's some good contact from Blanco that we've been talking about, but an unlucky drive as Hinkle almost had it pop out of her glove. But if you're Tara Blanco, you have to be satisfied with at least the good contact, the good inside-out swing that you just put on the ball. I'm
frustrated on her behalf, Kev. That's how it was this weekend against Kent State, too. You mentioned Abeska's sterling defense. One of her best plays was a diving grab to rob, I believe it was Blanco on a line drive. Another line drive hit to a left fielder that was, basically caught Squirty more than Squirty caught it. And then another example right there. Blanco all over that one. Not going to get a hit.
2 outs now. That'll leave the inning up to Madison Uden, the pinch hitter. And she'll take a ball. Uden on the year. 1 for 4.
Started her career off with a base hit, and it's been all downhill from there.
1-0 for the freshman, and it's a swing and a miss. Uden from Glendale, Arizona. Her sister plays softball at Indiana University. Big Ten rivalry within the family. Here's the 1-1. Another swing and a miss. It's 1-2. If Uden were to reach, it'd be Alex Subject.
The more the merrier.
The 1-2. Got her on the outside corner. Uden stayed in the box a little long, but takes the third strike.
Caught staring like a house by the side of the road.
Third strikeout for Miller, and that'll retire the side. So last call for the Falcons here in the top of the 7th. 7-1 Michigan.
On the downside, the Wolverines went 1-2-3 there in the bottom of the 6th inning. On the plus side, they did not hurt their stats with runners on. They remain at 6 for 21 and 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Still only 8 runners left on base today. 2 sides to every coin, as Blanco will get a chance for a 7th inning of work today.
1 run, 5 hits, 2 errors for Bowling Green, 7 runs on 10 hits for Michigan. No errors for the Wolverines.
Although their 1 run did come about as a result of a misplay in left field. It's really hard to...
I wouldn't even call it a misplay.
It was a tough play, but I'd say, a perfectly defended game results in a fly out there. There was plenty of hang time on it, and while,
Morris, I want you to go out there in this wind and make that catch.
I would love to. Honestly, I miss throwing and catching and everything about, baseball, which I played. I wouldn't guarantee that I would make the play, but I would love a shot. Just for the sake of getting out there. Well, thanks. I appreciate your confidence in my softball ability, Kev.
Bottom of the lineup due up. The bottom third, Hinkle, Giamarino, Wheeler. Blanco in the circle. There's strike 1 on the inner third.
Hinkle had that grounder up the middle that got by Blanco. Ramirez had to slide and stop it to keep it in the infield in her last at-bat.
The delivery from Blanco. It's a bunt, a perfectly placed bunt, and Alexander will make the play. Canfield swung over, and it's a 2-4 putout. Hinkle retired.
Well, you might have said that bunt was perfectly placed, but Katie Alexander would disagree. She pounced on that one.
I thought it was perfectly placed, and Alexander had to fight the bat as well.
Yeah, for sure. Cat-like reflexes from Katie Alexander to make that play.
That was intended.
That was absolutely intended. You got me.
Hannah Giamarino, 2 for 2 today, an RBI single in the 5th. Has 2 of the Bowling Green 5 hits today. 1 out, bases empty, top 7. Michigan on top 7-1. There's a called strike. It'll put the count at 1-1.
Giamarino has had Blanco's number today. We'll see if Blanco can in turn get Giamarino's number 10 on the way to getting win number 10 on the season.
The 1-1 is low.
That was a tenuous connection at best. Giammarino's average up to 222 on the season, so perhaps surprising to see this level of output against Blanco, who's been by and large lights out.
Blanco will wind and deliver a pitch that Giammarino drives into the netting. It's 2-2. Blanco will try to record the final 2 outs here and earn the Wolverines their 18th win of the year.
Infield and outfield straight away. The wind continues to whip.
A 2-2 pitch is drilled foul.
The attendance today about what you would expect in a midweek game against a non-marquee opponent. Not quite as packed as alumni as this weekend's tilt against the Kent State Golden Flashes. Probably about, what would you say, a fifth of the way full. A few hundred fans in attendance, though, which is impressive given the weather not optimal.
Another 2-2. Swing and a miss. Blanco gets Giammarino and retires her for the first time, and she's 1 out away from her 10th win.
And Blanco just proceeding with business as usual. Shut down Kent State on Sunday, shut down Kent State again the following Sunday, and has continued her run of good form today against the Bowling Green Falcons.
The pinch hitter for Kendall Wheeler will be number 22, Logan Everett, a freshman from Indiana, Pennsylvania. Grounds the first pitch foul. Plays catcher, also an infielder.
I like the spirit from the freshman. Coming up there, you need base runners, you need 6 runs, but she's still first pitch hacking.
Sometimes you only see 1 good pitch per at bat, and if it's the first one, you might as well swing, but it's an 0-1 count here on the freshman. Make that 1-1.
Couldn't agree with you more, Kev.
Everett is 9 for 44 on the year, 205 average, 4 RBIs, and has walked 5 times in her freshman campaign so far. The 1-1, swing and a miss, and Everett looked foolish there. Blanco pulled a string on the freshman, showing a little bit of veteran poise there.
That's also why you go with that first pitch, because you don't want to get set up for stuff like that later on.
Crowd rumbling on the bleachers. The 1-2. High and outside.
It was close. It was a good miss there from Tara Blanco.
Good miss indeed. Two count, 2 outs, no one on. Everett at the plate. The pitch. Ground ball, Subject will field in foul territory.
That one bounces off the glove of Alex Subject and into foul ground on the left side. Maybe not quite as adept with the leather as Lindsay Montemarano, though. That would be inferring a lot based on 1 chopper in foul territory.
Another 2-2 pitch. This one right to Faith Canfield, a soft line drive for out number 3, and that'll do it for this one. The Wolverines notch a 7-1 victory behind the dominance of Tara Blanco. 7 innings, 5 hits, an earned run, 1 free pass, 8 strikeouts for the Michigan righty. On the other side, the loss will belong to Brooke Parker. 3 innings, 6 runs, only 2 of them earned, but a lot of good takeaways for the Wolverines in this one.
Certainly. Blanco exceptional in the circle. It's been kind of a broken record sort of deal for the Wolverines lately, but you also saw production from Amanda Vargas, 4 RBI on the day. Michigan's going to need those kinds of breakthroughs in order to keep giving their pitchers enough support to stay comfortable in the circle. Peters led it off well as well. Solid contact on the day from Abby Ramirez. Production maybe not 1 through 9, everybody getting hits, but plenty of threats throughout the course of the game for the Wolverines on the way to a 7-1 win.
Blanco improves to 10-2. Parker drops to 3-8. You mentioned Peters, who has 2 hits. Amanda Vargas with 4 RBIs. Ramirez and Montemurano put together some good at-bats as well. Time of game, 2 hours and 2 minutes. Wolverines back in action tomorrow. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, WCBN Sports. Listen to our University of Michigan softball podcast, East of the Rockies, available on iTunes and SoundCloud. Once again, your final score, Michigan 7, Bowling Green 1 for Morris Fabry. My name's Kevin Klein saying so long from Ann Arbor. Night, and they go blue.